Well, I'm here at South Purrumbete. Pretty excited to be here actually. I've just been shown around by Luke. Really appreciate that. They're playing a game of cricket here for the first time in 24 years, I believe. Pretty exciting. So South Purrumbete were the beaters. They play in the Colac District League for a long time. Then the Heytesbury Mount Noorat, they finished up in that league. I think it was 99 they finished up. But by the final years, they were actually playing in Cobden itself. Cobden was the main town of the area. I think we're about 15 minutes away maybe. But it's very much a dairy area. Past a lot of dairy farms coming here. This ground is, I think it was last used for footy in maybe like the late 80s, I think. So they didn't use it for quite a while, but it was a training ground until their final years. It's on a massive slope. I didn't think it would be this much of a slope, but the cricket pitch is looking really nice. They've just put this new pitch in. They've covered up the old one. There's actually an even older pitch over there, but really nice part of Victoria here. I thought there would be a little bit more at the ground itself, but you got the canteen there. It's got a scorer's box up the top, change room out the back, which I was able to go in, thankfully, and the toilet block there. So that's all the facilities here. They didn't have like a big club room with heaps of memorabilia or anything like that. It wasn't quite to that standard. Here's actually the original cricket pitch from way back in the day. It's very close to the fence, but there wasn't a fence there when this was used for cricket. Very much a downhill slope down this end, so I wouldn't be wanting to bat down this end. I'd be wanting to take stripe down there. This was really overgrown, this ground, until about May, I think they said it was. They put heaps of work into it and put in the new pitch, ready for cricket. So it's the Pomborneit Cricket Club that will be playing here. Pomborneit isn't too far away, and there's very much a strong cricket club, and they've got lots of teams playing now. So I think they might even have 3 senior men's and then women's and juniors, which is quite a good effort for not really a big town. We'll actually go out there as well, but yeah, so they'll be the ones playing out here, and they actually last played here, and I think it was 2001. They were the last club to play here. It wasn't Purrumbete Cricket Club, it was Pomborneit Cricket Club. I think there were a bunch of cypress trees here along the road which were removed, which really opened it up, and you can get a nice view of it now. You see cypress trees surrounding all sorts of grounds, but it does provide a wind cover, but it sort of blocks the view. Apparently the benches were along here somewhere, another scoreboard, but the scoreboard, you can just see it, was actually originally on the club rooms itself. Not the club rooms, the canteen, sort of timekeeper's box itself. Purrumbete were the Panthers, also known as the Beaters, and they wore a really great jumper, black with a green band, which is a really unique design, but stands out. South Purrumbete was great. I'll be back there later for the actual cricket game, but I've gone to Purrumbete. This is 15 minutes down the road. It's another cricket-only ground, but Purrumbete used to be the Tigers until 1995. They merged with Irrawillipy to form the Western Eagles, and they still go around today, but just play at Irrawillipy. And we're in the Colac District area now. South Purrumbete were a Colac District team as well for a long time, but yeah, this is just Colac District now. We're getting closer to Colac. This is hard to follow, so we're at Purrumbete, but the Stonyford Cricket Club play here. Down the road was Swan Marsh, and there was like a very cool abandoned primary school there. So I don't know what the go is, why there's so many different names, no idea. I think the original Purrumbete footy club rooms may have been knocked down and replaced by these ones. Doesn't look like it would have been from back in those days. A few cricket balls lying around. Just speaking to a bloke here who's rocked up for cricket. This was the side of the old change rooms or club rooms, and they put these new ones here, which were originally from a golf course in Melbourne. Looks like this was the side of the old netball court, which doesn't really get used, of course. There is a netball ring surviving in the trees. Now I've ventured to Irrawillipy, where Purrumbete merged. They merged with the Irrawillipy Bulldogs to form the Western Eagles, and this is where they currently play. Looks like they have cricket out there as well, but they haven't worried about mowing the outer field, just the inner field. There's actually a sight screen here, which is pretty rare. The Western Eagles are actually yet to win a Colac District Senior Premiership as of yet. This is weird. They've put a Western Eagles sign on top of the club rooms, and you can't actually read it, and it's probably good for a drone shot, but not much else. But I like the effort. There's hardly a town at Irrawillippi, to be honest. We're only 15 minutes out of Colac, so I assume a lot of the players would be from there and just farms around this area. The Colac District League is actually part of AFL Barwon, which is the Geelong area, so something a bit different. I haven't spent too much time around this area. Little box here, the corner is just reserved for Jared Waitley. In the club rooms here we can see, it looks like, what's a Richmond jumper? I was going to say Purrumbete, but it's got a VFL logo, so they must have originally wore the actual West Coast Eagles jumper when they first merged. And then this one is a Irrawillippi jumper. So the Bulldogs, they must have actually not worn a Footscray design, which is a lot different. I actually really like that design. Didn't expect the Purrumbete honours board to actually be in the Irrawillippi club rooms. I assume they were still in the actual Purrumbete cricket club rooms, but guess not. So you got the Western Eagles ones there and Irrawillippi ones here. Never seen that Western Eagles design before. That's a unique one with the navy. And then I actually have one of these ones, which is a merger jumper of Purrumbete and Irrawillippi. And then there's the actual Eagles jumper, which is just what they wear normally, the Western Eagles. So I'm pretty sure I got this off a fella named Blake, and it's got the Purrumbete there, the sash. It kind of makes it look like a V, but it is the Richmond sash, and then the V from Irrawillippi, and it's a Western Eagles football netball club, number 57. So that's one I actually have in the collection, thankfully. Both of the original clubs weren't the most successful. Purrumbete never won a premiership, even though they joined in 1938, the Colac District. Irrawillippi won 4 Colac District premierships, so they were slightly more successful. The last being in 1992, just a few years before they merged. So sometimes clubs go all out just before they think they're going to merge. They might have brought in guys from Geelong or something like that, but I'm just guessing. I've come to Pomborneit, where the Pomborneit thirds are currently playing cricket. The seconds are at South Purrumbete, which I'll go to in a minute, and the first team are actually playing in Timburn, but this ground is on the highway in between Colac and I think it's Warrnambool, and it's quite a nice ground in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm really amazed they actually could get a club out here, but there are a lot of Camperdown players. Camperdown is only 13 k's away, but there's a lot of people play here that have farms nearby or have a connection to Pomborneit. And Pomborneit played football here until 1949. He's out. Hopefully I didn't put him off. But there's the first wicket, the opener's out. And anyway, cricket is mostly played here now, of course, but footy no longer. December 2000 was the last time Pomborneit played a game of cricket here, and they're back here again. 2024, apparently the ground even had blackberry bushes on it earlier this year, and it's come up a real treat. You can see the slant of it. Really goes down this end, but the new pitch seems to be pretty good. Seem to be happy with it. I'm sure the outfield will only get better from this point. It's good that they still have the goalposts here, and they're going to plan to keep them, so it's always good to see at cricket-only grounds. Just at Pomborneit, they no longer had footy goals there anymore. Massive shout out to Luke Reynolds for giving me a South Purrumbete jumper. This is a junior-sized one from when they finished up. But yeah, black with the green band is such a unique design. I like how the sponsor actually has the club logo on it with it. Well, not a club logo, but the club name on it, but also the sponsors. You don't very often see that. Usually we just be straight up the sponsor. They're going to get some replica ones made up, but it's awesome to get an original South Purrumbete jumper. Definitely one of the most unique I've seen. I haven't seen many clubs with black and green. Green isn't very popular, very common colour, yet alone this design. The only updated thing at this ground is the toilet block. Everything else is pretty much stock standard. Unfortunately, the netball has been removed. You can see the fencing from the netball court. There's not really much to see there. It was just all overgrown, but there's the surroundings of South Purrumbete. It's just pretty much farming area. There is a hole down the road, but that's no longer community owned. This ground is the only thing owned by the community. Been unreal to come to South Purrumbete. This one's in the sky, but it's going to land safely. Had a few snags on the barbie, and yeah, it's just really good. Apparently this is quite a good crowd for the second division of cricket down here. So yeah, really good. I think it's time for me to move on to the next ground though. Now I've driven into Cobden to have a look at the Cobden Bombers ground, but she's all bloody high security. You can't access this joint at all. Even those people playing tennis out the back, they had to park in the street. Very strange. They're doing an installation of oval irrigation, so can't actually get into the ground. Per capita, Cobden has one of the most impressive lists of AFL players. So you've got Ben Cunnington, Zach and Jackson Merritt, his brother. Then we've got Gary Rowan and Sean Darcy, the ruckman. There's plenty other old ones as well. So, but a really impressive group of recently listed AFL players. It's funny that the club rooms are named after Fonterra. The dairy company literally has a factory on the edge of the town. It's very, very close. I didn't think it'd actually be so close to houses. There's actually some history here on the outside of the, I think it is the scoreboard, and a bit of history about Cobden. There's also Thorold Merritt, who I believe is the great uncle of Jackson Merritt. He's a relative anyway. And then some more recent photos, the Cobden Bombers. They have a bit of a different logo, but just wear the standard old Bombers jumper. There's a few Welshes around. This bloke here was one of the first hand transplanted bloke named Walsh. I don't know if he's related to Sam Walsh, but Sam Walsh's old man was a coach at Cobden, I believe. There is a bit here on the Cobden Knights. They're the club that were actually playing out at South Purrumbete. Zach Merritt filled in for him a couple of years ago and he scored a ton. In fact, Sam Walsh is even in this photo next to Zach Merritt, so he must lay claim to being from Cobden. And here's a photo of Sean Darcy as a young bloke. He's that much taller than this fella. I would have been that guy. I wouldn't be that tall in the juniors. The ground here actually started in the 1860s, which is a very, very long time ago. Cobden has just under 2,000 people. And to prove that, there's literally a paddock across the road from the football ground where sheep are grazing amongst the church. Don't know if it's still used, but yeah, interesting. The next ground is Ecklin, and they played football until 1991, the end of the Mount Noorat League. They didn't join the Heytesbury Mount Noorat. And there is a cricket ground here along with a community hall, I believe. The strangest thing is when I pulled up, a little cat jumped out of nowhere and came up and down lying underneath my car. Silly cat. What are you doing? What are you up to? Ecklin wore green with a gold V. They must be the bullfrogs or the frogs. Now I'm going to have a guess, but I reckon this might be some new cricket nets, just looking at the size of it. There's also tennis out the back there as well. I think it's actually the community hall of the club room, so it's not really the most traditional looking rooms, I want to say. The Ecklin lads must be playing an away game today. We're sort of in an area in between Cobden, Timboon and Terang, which is kind of funny. Like, there's no town here. I say that all the time, but it's often with these grounds, there's just not a town here to survive a football club, but maybe a cricket club. Sadly, no goalposts here. I assume they would have been straight down the middle of the cricket pitch down here, so yeah, unfortunate. You can see on here they are called the Frogs. There's their events for the upcoming cricket season. Wow, this is the weird thing about Ecklin. In 1990, they won the the Mount Noorat Football League, and then they finished up the year after that. That is incredible. They finished up so soon after winning the premiership. Righto, Cat, can you jump out the way now? I want to leave. I want to go to the next footy ground. No, just stay there. Okay, then whatever. I've driven 15 minutes to Terang. Everything's 15 minutes away here. It's pretty nice. So Terang, they merged with Mortlake, as I mentioned when I went to Mortlake. The Bloods play here. They've won 3 senior premierships since merging. A couple of players come from here. Louis Taylor, well, I think he's actually from Mortlake, but he currently plays for the club. There was also Luke Vogels, who won a league best and fairest here in 2004, and then he actually got drafted into the AFL out of that, which is very rare to get drafted from country footy. They've made their own little stand over there, which is pretty unique, but not too bad of an oval. I'm fair bit of wind here at the moment. I don't know if it's always like this, but a nice little location with the trees surrounding the oval. Just about to drive out, and I thought this sign was very cool. They've got the players that have actually played for both sides, even the Mortlake players. So some that I mentioned before, Lewis Taylor currently plays for them in the Hampden League. Geordie McKenzie, you might remember him from Melbourne. Luke Rounds, now that's a niche one, along with Luke Vogels. How they updated the Sydney games played here with a bit of a sticker on top. Of course, he didn't stay too long at the Swans. He actually did beat Bont to a rising star, which is a big feat. For the Mortlake Cats, probably the best one is Leon Harris, played for Fitzroy. I think Bernie might have been his brother. Also just saw John Northey is listed for Mortlake as well, so he's a pretty good name, more as a coach than a player. There's way more for the Terang Bloods, well, the straight up Terang Bloods. Paul Couch, Brownlow medalist, that's a pretty good one there. Alan McConnell, probably more known as a coach, I'd say. Chris Heffernan, played for Essendon and Melbourne. And also Ronnie Wearmouth for Collingwood. But such a great idea to have a sign like this out in the public so everyone can see it. I think a lot more grounds should have something like this. So in Terang, I've stopped to take a leak, and all of a sudden, I didn't realise there's a dry lake down here. There's people playing bowls, but oh no, croquet. I should have read the bloody sign. Croquet, and then there's a golf course, and then there's a cricket pitch down here. I've travelled out to the Sisters. You wouldn't guess how long it took? 15 minutes. And they played in the Mount Noorat League until 1962. Not really sure where the ground was. It could have been out in this paddock. A bit of a slope to it, so I'm not really sure. It's a little bit hard to track down, to be honest. And unfortunately, I can't look inside these windows. They've got like the frosted windows. This was my mistake for not asking a local before actually coming here. I didn't realise that Ash Wednesday actually affected this area as well. It was such a broad reach for that fire or that event because it was over in South Australia as well. This is pretty cool. The Mortlake Historical Society reckon, well, they put this up. This was the teacher's residence, and it is now a tennis court at the Sisters. I assume it's called the Sisters due to the hills around here. Like maybe there's two hills, I think. See these trees, and there's a fence next to it as well. I reckon that could have been a boundary of an oval. I'd have to ask someone though. Actually, down the other side of the tennis court, this was actually where the state school was until 1972. Would not pick up on that. There is a CFA shed there, but yeah, not really much of the old school left. That's weird. So I've arrived at Woolsthorpe. Currently a cricket game is going on here. Now the Storm, Woolsthorpe merged with another club. This area is north of Koroit. They had a footy team until the 1950s, I believe. There's actually a little bit of stuff inside the club rooms, which was good because otherwise I probably would not have been able to find a photo. But yeah, not a bad ground. Small. It is a town, but very small. Looks like new cricket nets out the back here, or they maybe take the nets down, or I don't know if they're halfway for them being built. Woolsthorpe were the Bombers when they played football, and they used to wear red and black as a cricket club, but now wear the green and black. We saw South Purrumbete wearing green and black, but it is not very common. And last up, we're on the way home now. This is Hawkesdale, or is that out? It is. Not out. My bad. Not out. Hawkesdale were the Cats until they merged with Macarthur, and now Hawkesdale-Macarthur are the Eagles. Just running in now. Got a bit of pace about him, this guy. It's a good shot though, geez. Nearly 4. Didn't expect them to actually be playing cricket here today, so not going to have a real big deal of a great look around, but old school scoreboard over there. Here we can see the Mininera logo there, the Eagles logo, and the Hawkesdale Cricket Club still go around as the Cats and use a very short-lived Geelong Cats logo from the 2000s. Meanwhile, the footy logo is an adaptation of the West Coast Eagles 90s logo. I've been to Macarthur. They probably have a better footy ground, but the nets here are quite good. It's maybe better for cricket here, but anyway, we started with the Mininera League and we'll finish it off with this one. Thanks for watching this video. I wanted to go to the Heytesbury Mount Noorat clubs for so long, so I'm really happy to finally go there after about a year of doing these videos. I think South Purrumbete was always going to be good, but I was quite pleased with Scotts Creek. That was a bit of a surprise for me and a bit of a hidden gem, so Yeah, cheers for watching this. Thanks. See ya.